What's going on, everyone? It's the Fantasy Football Almanac, back at it with another fantasy football video. Today I'm going to be discussing running backs skyrocketing up my fantasy football dynasty rankings. I actually put out a video on this about wide receivers yesterday. You can check that out right up here. But before we get into it, if you guys could, go down and give this video a like. I'm answering every single comment. So if you guys have any fantasy football questions, trade, dynasty, the upcoming NFL draft, even if you're just talking prospects like Will Anderson, Jalen Carter, Witherspoon, etc. Love talking football, love talking fantasy. So let me know down below and subscribe to the channel. Turn the notification bell on. It is the best way to help me out, and it's totally free. You can always change your mind later. With that though, guys, let's hop right into it with our first player, Ken Walker. I think Ken Walker right now is somebody who's being pretty undervalued at this current point. I mean, especially considering he wasn't able to take over the reins in the offense until week 5 of this NFL season, after Rashad Penny went down with a season-ending injury. But before week 5, Ken Walker had yet to receive 10 carries in a given week, which all things considered is pretty crazy when you factor in the fact that Ken Walker finished as the running back 15 in standard scoring with over 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns, and another 165 yards receiving. I mean, at just 22 years old in his first NFL season, he was able to cobble together a near top-of-the-line season, again, despite really not playing at all the first 5 weeks. To put that into perspective, from weeks 5 on, Ken Walker finished as the running back 7, ahead of guys like Dalvin Cook, Saquon Barkley, Ramondre Stevenson, Najee Harris. The list goes on. The only players above him were Austin Eckler, Josh Jacobs, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Tony Pollard, and Nick Chubb. All great running backs in their own right. But now we see a full season where Ken Walker is going to be the running back 1 in his offense. I think Ken Walker legitimately has the upside for the season that Josh Jacobs just had. I mean, Josh Jacobs recently just put up 1,650 yards and 400 yards receiving this last season. And while I don't necessarily think that Ken Walker has the 400 receiving yards part, I think probably will finish around 300 receiving yards or so. That's absolutely fine when you're getting 1,500 or 1,600 yards on the ground as a 22-year-old running back. Personally, right now, I have him as my running back 2, and I could see putting him as my running back 3 once we see Breece Hall fully return from this ACL injury. But ACL injuries in general do scare me at least a little bit, especially considering Breece's was later on into the season. Week 7, I mean, we saw it with J.K. Dobbins. We saw it with Saquon Barkley. A lot of these running backs don't bounce back until year 2 of their ACL. We probably will see it with Javonte Williams as well. Although I do think Javonte Williams is a huge long-term value in Dynasty. So that's why I do have Ken Walker skyrocketing on my boards as the running back 2 in all of Dynasty. I understand having him as low as 4, but at the same time, I think he does deserve to be over Jonathan Taylor with his projected ceiling and now having 2 years of age on Jonathan Taylor. And I think he does deserve to be ahead of Breece Hall, or at least very, very close. I could see giving the nod to Breece Hall. Although, with all that being said, I still see Bijan as the number 1 Dynasty running back, and it's not close. The guy's a beast. The next running back I'm talking about, mentioned him before, it is Josh Jacobs. I think Josh Jacobs, honestly, the more I thought about it on my top 12 Dynasty running backs list, I think he does deserve to be ahead of Travis Etienne, and in the category of Saquon Barkley and CMC. I mean, this is somebody who had 2,000 all-purpose yards, which very few running backs are able to obtain at the NFL level, which led Josh Jacobs to the running back 1 finish in standard scoring, running back 3 in PPR, because you have guys like Austin Eckler and Christian McCaffrey still existing, still in the NFL. But either way, 2,000 all-purpose yards is great. I think he does deserve to be in the same tier right alongside Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey, especially considering the fact that Josh Jacobs is a full 2 years younger than Christian McCaffrey and a full year younger than Saquon, which in the running back position matters a ton. Well, the ceiling for Christian McCaffrey is simply higher, especially being in this 49ers offense. I think Josh Jacobs proved this past season that he deserves to be in the conversation for potentially a top 3 running back in all of football. I mean, I don't think anyone was expecting Josh Jacobs to be as great as he was this last season. And the crazy thing is, he had literally never finished below the running back 14 on any season prior to this point. We all knew he had the receiving capabilities coming out of college, but guys like Jalen Richard vultured targets from him for seemingly no reason. I mean, Gruden's a terrible head coach, but anyways, I digress. The new coaching staff come in, they finally realize how to utilize Josh Jacobs properly, and now you have Jimmy G, somebody who historically throws the ball pretty close to the line of scrimmage. Well, the system the 49ers ran didn't really require him to check down the ball. I think he will check down the ball a lot more because now he does have Josh Jacobs, and historically he is somebody who, again, operates very close to the line of scrimmage with the way he throws. That's why I do have Josh Jacobs now skyrocketing on my boards. I think he does make sense ahead of Travis Etienne. Although, if you do have Travis Etienne above him, I can't fault you necessarily. I keep trade cut, that's how it's listed. But either way, I think Josh Jacobs deserves to be ahead of Etienne. Next up, I got J.K. Dobbins, and J.K. Dobbins is probably the most interesting player on this list. I mean, especially considering the fact that we've really never seen him play for a full season. I mean, his rookie year, he was taking over for an old Mark Ingram. His sophomore year derailed entirely due to injury. And then his third season bogged down with injuries yet again after torn ACL. Kind of hampered him, and that's why I am a little concerned with Breece Hall as well, but that's a story for another day. But either way, I think J.K. Dobbins is a great value right now at the running back position. I mean, on Keep Trade Cut right now, he's listed behind DeAndre Swift, behind Dameon Pierce, and I would rather have Dobbins than both of those guys. Well, I do think Dameon Pierce has the potential to be a great running back at the NFL level. I mean, we did see it in his rookie year. We do have a new coaching staff coming in with the Texans, which could mean they do elect to move on from Dameon Pierce. And the Texans also have a plethora of draft picks this season, meaning, again, that they could easily move on from Dameon Pierce. But anyways, enough about Dameon Pierce. The reason why I love J.K. Dobbins so much is that every single time that J.K. Dobbins has played and gotten the volume that he deserves, he's been phenomenal with it. I mean, we're talking 6 yards per carry as a rookie. We're talking 5.6 yards per carry this most recent season, despite coming back from a torn ACL and battling through injuries pretty much this whole season. Well, yes, J.K. Dobbins does not have receiving chops, or at least if he does, we've never been able to see it because Lamar doesn't check it down. I don't really think that matters all too much when you're in a system that runs the ball more often than any team in the NFL. And I know they do bring in a new offensive coordinator, Todd Monken, to replace Greg Roman. But at the same time, that could actually probably only be better for J.K. Dobbins because we will most likely see more checkdowns. Because if you're running a more pass-heavy offense, you're going to have to check the ball down more. It's just a simple fact of fantasy football and regular football. That's why I do think J.K. Dobbins does deserve to be ahead of where he is and why he is skyrocketing up my rankings. I noticed I wasn't really drafting him that much on Underdog Fantasy, but the more I thought about it, the more I was thinking of why. There was really no point. This is somebody who doesn't necessarily have the ceiling of a Christian McCaffrey, but at the same time, his floor is very safe, and he is one of the most efficient running backs in the NFL. But anyways, that is enough for J.K. Dobbins. The next two players I have are both on the same team, and I am talking Jamaal Williams and Alvin Kamara. I think Alvin Kamara and Jamaal Williams are both in a really, really interesting spot right now. I mean, first of all, Jamaal Williams did lead the league last year with 17 touchdowns. I mean, it looks pretty crazy. I think the graphic should be right here. What the heck? 17 touchdowns for Jamaal Williams. Doesn't make any sense. And then we have Alvin Kamara, somebody who has historically been a very efficient running back on a per-touch basis over the course of his career. The last 2 years, not so much because he's had to take over as the lead running back in his offense. I think now Jamaal Williams will step in and provide some relief for Alvin Kamara to more so be the check-it-down guy in this offense. But honestly, there are some concerns I do have with Alvin Kamara. I mean, for one, I think Jamaal Williams will take a vast majority of the goal line work here because I think that's the main reason the Saints did end up signing him. But at the same time, if Alvin Kamara is able to receive the receiving work, which, I mean, obviously he should, it's Alvin Kamara, and he's able to have about 150 rushes this upcoming season, I mean, that is pretty good fantasy value, and I think does return past the running back 33 where he is on Underdog Fantasy right now. But at the same time, I'm pretty confused with the situation. I like both of these guys, and for very different reasons. I mean, for one, Jamaal Williams will most likely be the goal line guy, which means he is going to be getting a lot of touchdowns. Furthermore, he may be the sole running back in this offense. Well, Alvin Kamara is suspended, so I think it is possible for the first 6 games, Jamaal Williams may be a very, very valuable running back. But then after that, I think the situation gets a little bit more murky. Both of these guys are pretty old at 28. I mean, not old in real life, but old for fantasy football. Let me know down below what you guys think about this situation, because realistically, I think both of these guys do deserve to be higher on my rankings and have moved up my rankings. Guys I'm drafting a ton on Underdog Fantasy, and guys I think are really good plug-and-play guys for cheap over the next season or two. Let me know if you have done any trades recently involving Alvin Kamara or Jamaal Williams. I'd love to hear them, just to see what value is worth in real leagues. But either way, let me move on now to my last player, and that is Trayveon Williams. I think Trayveon Williams is definitely worth it to at least own in most Dynasty leagues. And Trayveon Williams right now on Keep Trade Cut is listed as the 354th best player, the running back 104, which honestly does make some type of sense, but at the same time, we have impending legal trouble with Joe Mixon. If the Bengals elect not to draft a running back, which is unlikely but possible, Trayveon Williams is the direct backup to Joe Mixon. And if Joe Mixon is to serve time or miss time or be penalized by the NFL, Trayveon Williams, again, would be the number one running back in this offense. Well, this is pretty much a crapshoot. I mean, I think the odds that Trayveon Williams does get a large role in this offense are low. I mean, the odds that they bring in somebody like Kareem Hunt if they don't land anyone in the draft, or the odds they bring in Zeke if they don't land anyone in the draft, are pretty high. I don't think they're set at 100%. There is a series of circumstances that does lead Trayveon Williams to get the starting job for at least a small portion of the season. So, well, again, this is a complete dart throw. The odds that he does hit are, I mean, I would say sub 5 or sub 10%. I think if he does hit, he is in one of the most electric offenses in the entire NFL, with a quarterback that checks it down a ton, and an offense that loves to force feed the run. I think it's worth at least a shot on him. That's why I do have him here as my last running back, skyrocketing up these rankings. Again, a very, very low running back. I mean, pretty much probably on waivers or will cost you nothing. I mean, you could throw him in at the end of a package for much more valuable players and get him for essentially free. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it from me. Hope you did enjoy the video. If you did, go down, give this video a like. I'm answering every single comment. So you guys have any fantasy football questions, please, please, please do not hesitate to ask. Love to help you all out. Love talking fantasy. And subscribe to the channel. Turn that notification bell on so you don't miss another video. With that, though, guys, as always, have a good day, a good night, and a good life.